For a lot of you guys up here, I know you guys get pressure on the lakes that you do get to fish because they're kind of small. I mean, who's ever been in that situation? Pretty much everybody has. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can handle it. You know, I see a lot of guys, they go out there and they love to finesse fish in those situations. Well, to me, finesse fishing is pretty much like pulling teeth or mowing the lawn or listening to someone nag on you being at home, or someone even worse than that. It's like someone when you're watching freaking Super Bowl and they come up and they change the channel. That's how I feel when I'm in that situation. I would rather do a lot of other stuff than be in that situation. But when I get in these situations, I don't break down into definitely finesse tactics like a lot of guys do. Reason is, I'm a firm believer that finesse tactics do not win tournaments. Day in and day out, if you look at the scenarios of all the bass tournaments that have been out there, how many tournaments are truthfully won with what I call a spinning rod or a fairy wand in your hand? Very few, except for certain situations. Like if you're fishing the Great Lakes for smallmouth, or you're in a situation like that where that's probably the only one that I can think of is it's one with a spinning rod. So for me, I love to flip. I believe that the biggest fish live in the thickest cover in the places that the average fisherman cannot get to. And when you can present a bait to them, that's where those big fish live. They live in the biggest shade pockets, they live in the thickest grass, they live on the biggest dock, they live in brush that you just don't even want to flip into. But that's where those big fish live. The guys that are out there with fairy wands in their hand, they're catching fish, but I don't believe that they're catching the right fish in tournament situations or the biggest fish. How many tournament guys do we have in here? Pretty much everybody. Let's go, how many guys who just recreational fish are here? Just recreational fish. All right, we got a handful. And as a recreational fisherman, what do you want to do? Catch big fish, right? I mean, it's okay every once in a while to go out there and catch 50 or 60 bass, but if they're all 2-pounders, that's no fun. I'd rather go out personally and catch 5 bass and they all be 5 pounds or better. I mean, that to me is fun. Or having an opportunity at the biggest fish that they've ever had. The biggest fish that I have personally caught is 14 pounds, 1 ounce on a flipping stick. Flipping during a Bassmaster tournament practice, always during practice, isn't it? That's what it did. Is stealth is huge, and when there's lots of people around, you have to figure out a way to be stealthy, and sometimes that takes you just sitting your boat there to block other guys out, to let that spot rest. And that applies to any kind of fishing, whether you're on a ledge or you're fishing a grass bed. If there's a dock that you want to fish and a guy has just fished it but you still want to fish it, go up there and power pole down or get clear of that dock so that nobody fishes it, and sit down and have a sandwich. Drink a soda or some water. Get yourself ready to be ready for when those fish have settled down and bite. How many times have you pulled up to an area that's never been fished and all of a sudden you start catching them right away and then all of a sudden they stop biting? It's the pressure gets to the fish. How many tournament practices have you had the first day of the tournament? It's been great first day of practice, but by the tournament starts, the bite sucks. And you're just like, how did it go so bad? Pressure get to these fish. So stealth. Weather. Weather is very important when you're fishing on heavily pressured lakes. Pick the nastiest weather you can possibly find that day. It's blowing 20 miles an hour. Go, because you're not going to have that many guys out there. It's raining. Go. It's cold. Go. You will have better days fishing on those nasty weather days, whether it's wind or rain or snow as you guys get up here, which is horrible. God, I got off the plane and I'm just like, what is that white stuff? Man, I'm glad I didn't bring shorts. It's cold. Yeah. So picking those days on heavily pressured lakes to go flipping, it's key. It's key into catching fish. So because you get less boats out there. And then time of year, I love flipping 12 months out of the year. Whether the fish you think are always deep, 12 months out of the year, there are fish that live in 5 feet of water or less, except for on your lakes that are frozen over. That's the only thing. And even ice fishing guys still catch bass in shallow water. So time of year does not matter to that. picking the thickest possible place. So we're going to use this as an example as a hydrilla mat or a trash mat or hyacinth or what's those stupid things you got at Potomac or upper chestnuts. Thank you. Chestnuts. You want to make sure that you shoot straight for the heart. You pick the thickest point because
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.